And he threw a temper tantrum because I told him I wanted to clean it up. But they're screaming.
All right, not really any roll calls in the work session, but, so the purpose of the thing tonight here, kids, is we're going to establish an ad hoc committee. We're not gonna discuss the rental code or anything like that. This is something that we want you guys to be involved in as we're developing it. It's just something to bring things on. I know everybody's all worked up about the rough draft they saw, but understand that is just a conglomeration of different codes that Blake grabbed from different cities and threw it all in one pile. It means nothing. It is just a starting point for you all to get involved. So the makeup of the committee, I don't know, Blake, if you had a chance to think about what you want to do with that, make up the committee for sure, how it should look.
I felt like it would be sort of dependent on who puts forth their self as a nomination. So we see what we've got. I was imagining at least 2 landlords, 2 council members, a realtor, and maybe somebody from the financial sector as well. And ideally, someone from the general public as well.
Anybody want to see that makeup different?
I think you gotta have more than 2 landlords.
Will 3 work? We can't get the committee so big because it'll be non-functioning if we get it too big. I mean, you guys all get together and talk as it is. I mean, you guys got some representatives that you can trust to relay your wishes, and
We understood that tonight was going to be mostly informational, and so we have held off on voting people as representatives because we were coming here to understand more about what it is you're proposing.
this is never about talking about the code. This was always to develop an ad hoc committee.
Yeah, so per the letter that was sent out February 21st, there's a bolded spot that says this initial meeting is solely for the formation of an advisory committee and not for the public discussion of concerns and suggestions.
And that's not what I'm asking about. What I'm saying is, I was understanding that tonight was about discussing what it was you wanted to see in this committee. So we have not elected individuals to come forth yet.
Okay, Blake, you know what you would like to see from in the committee for the representatives?
I
for
would just like
landlords?
to see who would like to be involved on this committee that we will form. And that was what was stated on this, and it's what was on the agenda posted last week. That's why we're here, is to
So if you're wondering what the
Get a list
committee's
of
going to
names.
do, they're going to work through the code from scratch, or whatever we're going to do, and help develop the policy that's going to become part of our city ordinance. We did the same thing with the food trucks. We got them all involved, and at the end of the day, we made sure everybody's happy, everybody's interests were represented, and it was something that isn't going to be so, I guess, limiting that you guys don't get to do business.
So it was the intent to actually have people selected this evening.
No, we want you guys to make up this, but if you guys want to volunteer, we want to know who those volunteers are so we can start reaching out and start getting the meeting set up. I don't know which one of these council members are going to want to be on it yet. But we want to make sure that you guys have a chance to get your representatives. I can't have every one of you sitting on the committee, or we'll be sitting here doing this all night.
That's all that.
Does that make sense, I guess?
Absolutely.
So, if we select 2 or 3, do they need to be approved by anybody?
By you guys.
By you guys, yeah.
They're your
Anyone else?
representatives on the committee.
If we pick 2 or 3 and we agree on a number, are they on then?
That will be determined on the mayor, because it is the mayor's committee.
Well, it's not really my committee, but yes, yeah, it'll be fine. If you guys select 3 amongst yourselves, I'm not
So
going to
if we
say no.
just have a date when we need to get 2 or 3 names?
I don't
and
want,
we'll
I don't
figure
want
that
this
out.
thing to drag out, so if we could have them by week.
This is gonna be a very long process.
Yeah, this isn't
One
gonna
more
happen
week is not a
overnight.
big deal.
So.
So-
And then we'll have a couple council members selected, and obviously Blake will be part of it, and we'll need a realtor.
I
In
will
the-
only be an advisory person to the committee, I will not be on.
Right.
So in the group, there's at least 2 realtors. Can they wear the realtor hat, or would you rather have 2 realtors or a realtor that is not the landlord?
I would prefer if a realtor was not also a landlord.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, Scotty, so you'd have to decide which one you want to represent.
I'm a real.
So,
Is that the same for the banker then also?
Yeah, I'd prefer to have somebody that's impartial, that doesn't have a skin in the game for the rental part of it, so. You guys all got skin in the game.
I think I showed up early, but I am an inactive realtor. I'm not with the brokerage right now, but still licensed.
Are you interested?
Yeah, I definitely thought we were gonna talk about my sewer problem, but yeah.
That's
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, but I just own my house. I don't have any rentals outside of knowing Dakota and his rentals. I don't do anything with it.
So that's where we're at, you know. So I'm okay with that. Are you guys okay with having 3 representatives of what you guys got going on? 2 council members, a realtor, whether active or inactive, and preferably somebody from the financial sector, just to see how that goes.
I know if I'm getting too far down the road, let me know. When you talk about skin in the game, one of my fears is not enough people in this process are gonna have skin in the game. So if somebody like Matt wanted to be on it, I would think he could be on it as a lender. Why is skin in the game bad?
No, it's not. But again, if I have everybody that their best interest is gonna be how it's gonna be the best for my rental market and not being able to see the global
I
picture.
think we have that pretty well covered by the council and city hall. Of
Well, I
people-
got somebody on the council that
Right.
obviously would
One-
have better interest.
One,
Well, it used to be another one too.
used to be, yeah, there's a difference.
So,
But I'm saying, if Matt wanted to be as a lender, he couldn't be?
that's up to you guys. If you think he's gonna be impartial, I think Matt would be greatly impartial. I think he'd be a good committee. I have no problem with it.
All right.
I just want you guys to be comfortable with the people you select. We'll work with anybody. We don't care, so.
Okay.
But we definitely don't, it's not something we're gonna go pick and choose on our own. It's gotta be you guys help developing it. That's just,
Okay.
otherwise it'll never work.
All right.
Ever, ever. So,
Well, that's what I just would hate to exclude any of these people because they own rentals. That seems kind of counterproductive, say, well, you can't be part of this because you're part of this.
I get it.
So, that's,
I've been attacked at Tyson's here recently, so. It's not like we're not all available to get talked to. So. That's what we wanna do. That's where we wanna start out here. And
Well,
the faster we can get your committee or people or representatives put together or whatever. I mean, if you guys want to say, hey, Matt, do you want to be the financial person on it? We'd take that as a recommendation too, you know?
I'd like to put Matt's name in that hat to be our financial person on that committee.
I actually think that's pretty good.
I'd volunteer for it, Blake.
He's been involved in a lot of the housing stuff around here. I think that's be a good choice, John. That's one,
So we
I
want
covered financial.
so
so we can get back,
you can get back with your rest of you guys.
Well, yeah, I think we could
Yeah.
establish a little bit of a timeline.
Yeah. So give it a week, and then once you guys get together, we'll have, I don't know, Blake can lead the charge about when you want to get meetings put together.
And once the meetings are set, then they're posted just like every
Yeah,
other meeting is.
because that way, everybody wants to show up. You still can, but just understand is, you get too many voices in there and it just gets to be a,
we
same thing with up here. If I had all 6 council members up there, we wouldn't get anything done, so.
So are we taking volunteer council members, or are we sliding?
I would ask for volunteers first.
I would volunteer. Anyone else is interested? I would volunteer. If that's, I mean, it's up to them. I think it should be.
So right now, I got Tammy and Bethany that are volunteering as council in it.
we'll talk about that too. So if we get you our nominees by Friday next, so not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great. So,
Who are they getting them to?
how about you?
I just want everyone on the same
Thank you
page.
for volunteering, Melissa. So,
The letter mentioned tenants. Are you not wanting them now?
no, we can have.
Yeah, are there any tenants here?
Already here?
how are we gonna contact?
Would you like to volunteer?
Yes.
Alex? What's your name?
Cody.
Cody.
Yeah, we don't seem that many tenants here, I guess.
I'm sure once this
Valerie, I
gets
saw your
out to
hand
the
up.
public, there's gonna be a lot of tenants in here because they're gonna get their rents raised. You know, ultimately, they're gonna absorb all the costs, so there's gonna be tenants here. I mean, it's not gonna, I mean,
That's
it's gonna
probably a
rise.
discussion for later, and that's gonna be up
I
to
mean,
you
there'll
and
be
your
a lot of
landlord,
tenants here.
so.
Well, of course,
I
they're
think
gonna
it's
raise
fair.
the rent. It's pretty obvious.
It all depends what happens after you guys get developed. I don't need to see this being done within a year.
I don't think that they have to have a tenant,
I don't think so.
I think we should have.
and I can see where that could
I don't know
be.
what's going on.
Be problematic.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Would you guys like to see a tenant on there?
I'd like to have tenants.
I would like.
These,
I think
these seem to be the group that's gonna be affected most, I think, would be a
Yeah.
disservice to
Absolutely.
not allow.
Right, they're gonna be the ones
They're
that are
in this
affected.
just as deep as we
Two
are.
tenants?
So between amongst the bunch of
At least
you,
two
I think I got
tenants.
one tenant, so.
Yeah.
You don't think we could have a few more tenants, or?
I don't want the committee to get so big, cause it'll be an irrelevant committee.
We're at 2 now, and we have 1
We're at
volunteer.
4 now, you guys are gonna be at
But I mean, the 2
three,
Two
three
tenants.
landlords, 2 council, that's
And we have
5,
1 spoken for.
6, we're already at 6.
How many people do you wanna see on this board?
Well, the thing is, if we have a group like this sitting out here, every time we have a meeting, it's gonna be, this person's gonna bitch, this person's gonna bitch, this person's gonna bitch, this person's gonna bitch. We're not gonna get anything done. Where if we have a small group,
How small are you thinking of?
what we just talked about for
10?
numbers.
Right now, you're at 9.
Okay, now,
Nine.
In order to be really successful.
And that makeup is,
3 landlords.
and tenants and landlords can have their separate meetings, and then the landlords and the tenants can bring their bitches to us.
That sounds about right.
That makes sense.
yep. So 9.
Yep.
It seems like, and again, some of this is a cart and a horse, and I don't know what has to go first, but somehow we gotta get some more tenants involved. And I'm not saying they have to come to meetings, but either we have to have another group that's below that group that gets to get together and discuss, or I think we have to offer it to a few more.
What you guys wanna do with your tenants, if you guys wanna meet with them outside of the committee, that's your prerogative.
But I'm
Then you can
saying-
have those decisions, but you wanna bring them to the committee meetings, you're not gonna get anything done again.
But I said, I don't, they have to go to these meetings, but somehow, ultimately, they're the most affected by this. They need to be represented.
Right.
One more lucky renter, I don't think is enough. And I'm not saying they have to come to meetings, but we have to either, I was wondering, again, this is maybe the cart and the horse, about sending surveys out to all the renters in town and ask for input on a written survey, or ask them to contact people to talk about concerns.
So again, this would be a decision made by that same committee we're trying to make up right now.
Right.
If that's something you wanna do,
Right.
so be it, discussed at the meeting, we're not in that forum to make that right now.
But
That's the whole point of making the committee, is to make those decisions.
Right.
If you want more input from everybody, then do it.
Right, but I'm just saying, I'm not getting in too much, I'm just saying some of this is a discussion, that if we bypass this right now, we may not get it back in. I'm just saying, I think we need more input from renters ultimately. That's what I'm trying to say.
And
Well,
again,
either that or the landlords talk to their renters and bring their concerns
Right.
to the committee. Instead of like I said, instead of having 30 people sitting here and everybody wants a voice. I mean, realistically, that's the easiest way to do it. Cause you know your landlords, or you know your tenants, and you all talk to them, and then you bring their concerns back to us, or we have a committee for them. Come in, the 2 people or 3 people, whatever we end up with for the tenants representative.
like I
Does
said,
that
use a
sound-
committee of 9, decide you wanna talk to all the tenants, every one of them, you guys can do that. Have another meeting with them, have them bring to the other meeting, hey, tenants, we're gonna have our subcommittee meeting right today about, talking about the thing, we want your input. You guys can invite them all if you want, that's up to you. I don't wanna get down in the weeds about that part, cause that's what I want the committee to do, is what they want to do.
I'm trying to not go on weeds myself. You say you don't want to weeds. We're not the ones initiating this process. You're delegating the responsibility of talking to people who are gonna be the most affected by this and saying, it's our job to talk to them. You're the ones initializing this process. Why don't we find a way for you to talk to them too?
Who do they pay a check to for the rent? Not to me.
Well, who are the ones that are complaining?
Right. Who started all this in
Yeah,
the
who
first place
started
and
it?
why?
Again, none of this
What's wrong
was a
with the way
complaint.
things are now?
We're trying to make something a code that you guys can all be, because there's nothing right now.
There's already a state code.
There's already state codes. I mean,
So
what
this
is
is
this all
why,
about?
this is exactly why this meeting tonight is to make it ad hoc. I'm not here to listen to people bitch. I'm not listening to hear people talk
We're
about.
not bitching, we're just asking
No, we're already
questions.
complaining about it.
Well, why did,
Just
how
ask
did
me
it
Heard
start?
comments about, oh my God, we're gonna have to raise the rates. That could possibly be, but that's up to you guys to
How
decide.
did this start in the first place? Why did this come about?
Because we have nothing on the books, nothing.
So you
You
don't
got a state code.
times are
that
tough,
goes
man.
to the
This,
Well, we
city.
can bring the state in,
Bad
we can
timing.
start inspecting every rental.
There'll be houses too.
bring it on. Yeah.
And why isn't private
It's
houses?
every
too?
houses. Yeah.
Why is it just rentals? How
Because
can that
there's a
be?
state code on the books, 526A, the Uniform Landlord-Tenant Act, which states, right off the bat, one of the purposes of that code is to make inseparable the right to collect rent from the obligation to maintain the premises. That's one of the very first purposes listed in that code. Further down in the code is the obligation to maintain premises. One of the first stipulations of that is that landlords shall follow all state and local building and housing codes.
Most of them are. But you know, here's the deal. If something looks bad from the outside or junk, you drive up there and say, hey, clean it up. Or if somebody gives you a call and you got a complaint, you can go take care of the complaint. But you gotta go this far and go in and inspect people's houses and charge the landlord money.
And again,
It's just gonna cost the tenant. And times are bad. Food's high, gas is high, bad timing. Super bad
We're
timing.
going off the track here.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
we
we
are.
definitely
Yeah,
are.
we
Again,
Oh, yeah,
This is
because
exactly
you're
what we were
proposing
saying.
it, that's
This
why
is-
we're going off the track.
this is specifically to form the ad hoc committee. If you don't wanna be
Screw
a
the
part of it,
committee.
or can't be a productive part of it, then I suggest you select somebody who can. So, that is what it is.
Bad
All this
timing.
discussion about what it's gonna cost, how things are gonna affect, that's all part of that committee to discuss. Not 50 people in here, because it's exactly what happens. I get 10 people talking above each other, and nothing gets done. That's why it needs to get limited down to a number of 9, or whatever that number is, which sounds like 9 is kind of the number that we picked up. So, that's where we're at. So, not trying to be difficult, I'm not trying to be anything, but the whole point is for you guys to have your involvement in developing this thing, or whatever we can do to